How do we think through images? Seeing and understanding. Our brains use pictures to help us understand and remember things. Just like how we remember faces, we also remember images we see in books or on TV. Feelings. Through pictures. Pictures can make us feel different emotions. A happy picture can make us smile, while a sad picture can make us feel empathy. Symbols and meanings. We can tell stories with pictures without using words. For example, comic books use images to show what's happening in the story. Seeing and understanding. Images often use symbols to represent ideas. For instance, a heart symbol usually means love, and a smiley face means happiness. Cultural images. Different cultures have unique images and symbols that are important to them. Looking at these images helps us learn about and understand other cultures. Remembering our past pictures from our history or our families help us remember important events and people. They are a way to keep our memories alive. I wonder who was the first person to decide to draw in history. Why did they draw? What did they draw? And how? He was the first person to decide to draw on the walls of the caves he lived in. He drew because that was the way he communicated with those around him, to convey information, document events, and think through his drawings. He drew celebrations, rituals, and hunting trips. He made his drawings by grinding colored stones and using animal hair to make brushes. To express something, he had to draw it. For example, to represent a duck, he drew a duck. To represent a dog, he drew a dog. Over time, humans began to simplify shapes and invented writing, letters, and alphabets. But the foundation was always drawings. The picture is worth 1,000 words. Before I learned to write, even before we spoke, we communicated our thoughts with drawings. Drawing makes our thoughts clearer. Experiment with closing your eyes and thinking about a tree, a type of fruit, or an animal. The result. You will find inside your mind drawn the shape of the tree, not its letters, the shape of the fruit, not its taste, the shape of the animal, not its sound. From here we know, our mind is originally translated to think through images. When we think, the image of our thoughts becomes clearer. Who discovered the benefit of converting ideas into images and benefited from this? Scientists and inventors who saw that converting their ideas into images made it easier for them to communicate their new ideas to people. One of the most important scientists was Einstein, who said that images are the key to the secrets of the entire universe, and that anything discovered is solved only because he turns it into images in his imagination. If I am not an inventor, what benefit will I have from thinking in pictures? I can benefit from drawing my ideas and sharing them with those around me to reach the best version of them by deleting and adding. I can draw a daily schedule, a study schedule, a schedule for something new I want to learn, or how I would like to spend my vacation. I can combine pictures with words to convey meanings in a faster or easier way. Try, even if I don't know how to draw. Communicate your thoughts with the fewest lines or transform the world around you into geometric shapes. The circle alone, with simple additions, can be a sun or moon. It can be a birthday cake. It can be something. How do I turn my ideas into written stories? History of stories. Who was the first person to write a story? He was the first man to tell his story in the form of drawings of hunting, celebrations, and rituals. And then civilizations followed, like the civilization of the ancient Egyptians. How do I turn the pictures in my mind into stories that have meaning? What's the story? A story is a group of related actions that take place in a specific time and place. Like one day when the sun was shining in the sky, a seed was planted, watered it, and a tree grew. Time, place, and actions that occur in a chronological sequence. The parts that form the story. The idea around which the story revolves or the reason behind it, for example, the victory of good over evil. The body of the story is the beginning, middle, and end. In the beginning, I know the time, place, hero, and characters of the story. The middle is where all the actions and conflicts of the story. The goal at the end is to find a solution to all the problems in the story. The most important thing is that the title of the story expresses the actions, but that it discloses the actions. The title should be like a puzzle. Type of story: horror, action, comedy, etc. Picture and story. Every picture or drawing always has a story behind it, a story for a person or a place, and the story is always what gives the picture meaning. Playtime. Each participant draws a character, a human, an animal, an inanimate object, about 4 drawings, and he draws one drawing of a place, sea, land, sky, or another planet, and these drawings do not have any logical relationship. After completing the drawing, we fold the papers containing these drawings. We will start with the characters and put them in a box. The cards are mixed inside the box, then each participant chooses 4 cards containing the heroes of their story. Then the participants fold the papers that contain the places this time, mix the papers, and the participants draw one paper to the place where the events take place. How do I turn a word into a picture? How do I turn my written story into a picture story? Comic book. Now we will know how to take our written story a step forward and turn it into a picture story. It is a story in which I kept my pen silent about everything that colors can make embodied. I mean, stories that are mainly told by pictures, and the text is just an auxiliary, or they are only told by pictures, and here the story is completely silent. Now, let us transform our story from the language of letters to the language of pictures. We break down the written into people, our place, time, action. We will create a table of people, places, and action within the story. I will imagine people and places. Of course, the written story is the evidence. The age of the character is good or evil, rich or poor, happy or sad. Of course, everything changes in drawing the character. We will also do the same thing with the place. Also, time is important in the form of places and people. Is the story now, in the past, or in the future? Finally, the action that takes place inside the place, for example, children playing or fighting, an action, a reaction, then another action, and so on until the story turns into pictures. The title of my story is a mystery that encourages whoever reads it to complete my story. The title is similar to the story, but it does not spoil it, and most importantly, it is truthful and does not lie. For example, like the title of Alice in Wonderland and other stories. Also, the cover of a book must express the spirit and content of the story. Let's turn the words of our story into pictures. The first thing we need to get is white and colored paper. Fold them in half and make a blank book. The first way we can use collage is to look at the pictures that depict the world of our story, including places and characters from old newspapers and magazines, or printed pictures, and cut them over each other until we reach the picture in our imagination. The second way we can use drawing is to imagine the world of our story and begin to draw it. Inside our book, scene after scene. How do I turn my story into an animated film? Storyboard. At this stage, I turn every word in my story into sequential images drawn quickly. Now it's time to animate. But what is the difference between a static and an animated image? A still image fixes time and place within a specific frame between 4 angles, fixed or moving. When converting an image into an animation, I change a specific element, such as time and people, and change them. The most important element that gives life and movement to the image is the sound of the place. Differences: change of time, movement of characters, sound of place. How do pictures turn into animation? The eye only sees what the mind sees. Cutout. I draw the picture only once, and I try to cut it into parts and move it in front of the camera in very light movements, and with each movement I take pictures of a picture. Frame by frame, I draw the picture many times, each time making a small change. 3D stop motion. I will start building a world with toys or clay and move and make very small changes, and with every change, don't forget to take a picture. Film shooting. We will need a good stable table, a mobile phone, a mobile holder, lighting, and our drawings or toys and models animated. Programs we need to download to the phone. Play Store. We are looking for an animation program in the Montage program. Now is the time to animate and photograph. I will set the mobile phone on the stand, prepare my drawings or models, and of course forget the good lighting, and enter the animation program and start taking pictures and move the drawings or models in simple movements per second for 18 to 24 images. Scene after scene, as in the storyboard. Editing the stage in which I combine the image with the sound. The sound can be recorded by myself or from the intranet, and arrange the scenes as they are on the storyboard.